There it goes. All right, so number 16. This is a notes page. We're going to compare 3/7 and 1/3. So the first thing we have to do, guys, our step 1 says to do what? Read your steps 1. Someone read step 1. Anybody? Thank you. Find the least common multiple of the denominators. My denominators are 7 and 3. Okay? So I'm going to list on my multiples page, because this is something I'm allowed to use on a quiz when I get there. Multiples are 7 times 1, 7 times 2, oopsies, 7 times 3, 7 times 4, 7 times 5. I just don't understand when people don't want to write things down. My 3s, I'm going to go 3 times 2 is 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. I'm going to stop at 30. Okay? Everybody have that written down. Now I'm writing down these multiples because if you notice on this note sheet and your homework, these denominators are going to pop back up. And do you want to rewrite that, Gabe, every time? I don't. If I already have it, I'm solid. Okay? All right. So I'm going to move this to the side. Now I got to rewrite this. So watch me. 3, because I'm writing an equivalent fraction here. 3/7 is equal to something over whatever. 1/3 is equal to something over. But I got to find the least common multiple. What I mean by that is, what is the first multiple that 7 and 3 share? Where do I stop? What's the smallest one they share? What? That's right, it's 21. And if you notice, 21 is the first number, the first multiple they share. So I'm going to put equals something over 21. Okay? Now, finding these equivalent fractions are going to be slightly different. I have my arrow right here. How did I get from 7 to 21? Meaning, what did I multiply by? Zoe? Okay. 3. I multiply by 3. So whatever I do to my denominator, I do to my numerator. 3. What's 3 times 3? 9. Okay. For what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to highlight this so I know this is the first fraction I'm comparing. Okay. How do I get from 3 to 21? There you go. Thank you, Kai. I multiply by 7. And then what is 1 times 7?
7.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to highlight that one too, because now I have my fractions with common denominators to compare. So just like before, guys, I'm going only at this point, my fractions have the same denominator. I need to look at my numerators and compare which is greater, 9/21 or 7/21. Why, we should have a resounding, like everybody should be saying this. Like it shouldn't be a, let me guess. 9. Okay, so which goes with my 3/7. So there you go. Okay. Okay, I'm going to pause this and I'm going to continue in a minute. Hang on, I'm going to pause it. I'm going to pause. Okay. Moving on to number 17. So again, we are comparing fractions, and we need to find an equivalent fraction of 4/5 and an equivalent fraction to 13 over 15. So our first step says to find the least common multiple of the denominators. My denominators are 5 and 15. I'm going to go back to my multiple page. I'm going to list 5. 1 times, whoops, nope, that's a factor. I want a multiple. 5 times 1, 5 times 2, 5 times 3, 5 times 4, 5 times 5, and then 15. Hang on one second. So the multiples of 15, are...
Everybody here has been here forever, and
15 times 1 is 15. 15 times 2 is 30. 15 times 3 is 45. 15 times 4 is 60. We're going to stop there, okay? So we're looking for the least common multiple of 5 and 15, meaning what's the first multiple that they share? And it's 15. So something equivalent to 15. And look right here, we already have 15 is a multiple of itself. So what this means is you're not changing this. Doesn't even have to change, okay? So we're going to compare 13, 15. So I'm just going to highlight this one real quick, okay? And then how do I get from 5 to 15? Well, I multiply by 3. And then 4 times 3, and I get 12. So now I have two fractions with common denominators, okay? And I'm comparing my numerators now. So, and I have them right below their equivalent fractions here. So 4/5 is equivalent to 12/15. 13/15 is the same as itself. And so which one is bigger? Well, 13 is greater than 12. So that's it, okay? Let's look at number 8. I have 10/4 and 4/6. So I'm going to go to my multiples page because I have to find the least common multiple of 4 and 6. So remember, using this page is super great because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I have 4 and 6. I've already got multiples listed. So what is the first multiple they share? And it's 12. It's 12. So step 2, I'm going to rewrite my first fraction. My least common multiple is 12. And then 4, how do I get from 4 to 12? Well, I multiply by 3. So then I have 10 times 3, and I get 30. And then I have 15 over 6 is equivalent to something over 12. So how do I get from 6 to 12? Well, I multiply by 2. So I need to multiply 15 by 2, and I get 30. So now I'm going to highlight both of my equivalent fractions here, okay? Equivalent to this one, and this is equivalent to my second. And look at that. Remember, my denominators are the same, so I'm not going to compare. I'm going to compare my numerators. And 30 is equal to itself, so these two fractions are actually equivalent. Okay, so let's go over here. Yeah, okay, number 19. So again, I need my least common multiple of 6 and 24. Now here is another, and I mentioned this before you guys left. When I'm listing my multiples, if for example, I have the multiples of 6. And as you can see, 24 is a multiple of 6. So you don't really have to go and rewrite this, okay? Because 24 is a multiple of 6. So I don't have to change this factor. I mean this fraction. But I do need to change this one. So 5 over 6, 24. So how do I get from 6 to 24? Well, I multiply by 4. 5 times 4 is 20. I'm going to compare this one to this one. Now remember, my denominators are the same. Don't worry about them. My numerators, I'm comparing. 23 is greater. So 24th is greater than 5/6. So let's look at number 20 right here. I have 7 over 4 and 17 over 10. Again, I'm looking for the least common multiple of my denominators. So let's look at my multiples. I do have multiples of 4, but I don't have multiples of 10 yet. So I'm going to do this. So 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. All right? So, my least common multiple of 4 and 10, and I've got to go back and forth. So let's see. Of 4 and 10. Looks like it's going to be 20. Okay, the least, so that's the first multiple they share, the smallest one. So, making equivalent fractions. Okay, my least common multiple is 20, so that's my new denominator. To get from 4 to 20, I multiply by 5. 7 times 5 is 35. Over here, from 10 to 20, I multiply by 2. 17 times 2, and I get 34. I'm going to highlight these two right here. These are the ones I'm comparing because my denominators are now the same, so I'm just looking at my numerators, and I see 35 is bigger than 34. All right, last one on our notes, and then after that you watch this video and do all the work, you need to go and do your homework. We'll talk about that in a second here. So 21, I have my denominators are 12 and 15, so I need to find the least common multiple of 12 and 15. So let's go to my multiples page that I've been keeping up with. I do have multiples of 15. Now I need to go to 12. So let's find 12. And this is where you got to look up your facts. 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 12 times 3 is 36. 12 times 4 is 48. 12 times 5 is 60. What am I comparing? 12 and 15. And look, I can go with this. My least common multiple they share right now is 60. It's a big one. 8 and 12. And then 10 and 15. So again, I'm rewriting my fractions. So I'm setting them up to find the equivalent fraction with the common denominator found by finding our least common multiple. 12 times 5 equals 60. 8 times 5 equals 40. 15 to 60. Now, if I don't know what I'm multiplying by, come over here and count. How many till I got there? So 1, 2, 3 times 4. Okay? If you don't remember what I'm multiplying by, count until you get to that number. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I know 15 times 4 is 60. 10 times 4 is 40. Oh, looky tooky. Highlight my two fractions that I'm comparing. And look at that, honey bears. They're equivalent. They're equivalent. So, like I said, I'm going to have my multiples thing on the wall. We're going to keep adding to it, and you can keep copying it, okay? So that'll be here on the wall for you to copy. The other side will have our factors, okay? So this is the first part of your homework. You got to finish my notes. The second part, no, not that one. The second part, whoop, you need to do number on your own, 11 through 16 on your own, doing it just like I did it in this video, okay? On your desk tomorrow for a stamp card is the work all done for this, and then your notes, okay? Both have to be complete.